Hi, I'm Lawrence with Gowin Memorials. I'd like to show you some of the highlights of the lost wax bronze casting process and the people behind it. Like most bronze sculptures, we start with the design in clay. Sculpting is a painstaking artistic endeavor that can take weeks or even months to get right. Once we're satisfied with the clay original, a set of molds are created that will allow us to accurately reproduce it. It's heartbreaking, but the original sculpture that was so carefully crafted often has to be cut up into pieces for the casting process to work. Artisans like Amy use the molds to recreate the individual parts of the sculpture in wax. Everything that's wax here will eventually be replaced by bronze. After the wax cools and hardens, it's removed from the mold. Carrie is demolding the ground from our gardening sculpture. Imperfections like air bubbles or seepage between the mold halves are fixed so the wax has the exact shape and texture that's needed in the final bronze. Wax pieces are added that will become the paths for molten bronze to flow in and air to escape during the bronze pour. Years of experience help them assess all these different shapes to know where to add these channels. Here we can see where an imperfection was found in the wax. This forearm from one of our golf designs got bumped, so our craftsman stops and restores the artist's original design. This is a great example of the meticulous attention to detail and craftsmanship that our artisans adhere to throughout the entire process. The wax pieces are then dipped into a liquid slurry followed by a dunk in fine sand. The wet mixture on the wax is set aside and allowed to dry. This process is repeated until there's a thick ceramic-like shell encasing the wax. There may be up to 14 iterations of this step performed over a number of weeks. Once the shell process is complete, it's put into a kiln to melt the wax out of the mold. This is where the lost wax name of the process comes from. We're left with a highly detailed hollow receptacle to pour the bronze into. The hollow shell must be heated before the 220-degree molten bronze can be poured in. This keeps the bronze from cooling to a solid and preventing an even flow throughout the mold. It also ensures that there's no moisture in the shell. Even the smallest bit of condensation coming into contact with the liquefied bronze could cause an explosion that would send molten metal everywhere. Here's our preheated shells being readied for the pour. And finally the bronze pour. This is essentially the same way it was done thousands of years ago. The timeless process of bronze casting is a great way to create a timeless memorial to a life's legacy. After the bronze has had a chance to cool, the shell that took weeks to make is hammered off, revealing the rough cast bronze. Notice how he's wailing on these pieces with the hammer. Real bronze is durable. Imagine doing this on a cheap cold cast piece or sculpture made with low-grade metals or resin. We're making durable art that will last for centuries. You can see a hand and forearm from one of our golf designs being revealed. The shell from inside the bronze is removed using pneumatic tools, and the bronze pieces are sandblasted to remove any remnants of that coating. Jeff is welding up some patches on one of our golf arms. You can see the remnants of the wax sprues here. You can see where the fingers have been added and patches from the casting process have been welded back in. Dan is grinding the welds and finishing the metal. It takes an amazingly skillful hand and an artist's eye to preserve and recreate the detail of the original sculpture. When this is done, you'll never know it wasn't one seamless object. The sculpture is at last assembled and given a final detailing to get the bronze into its final state. Then, more fire. The final coloration, or patina, is applied with heat and chemicals. A torch is used to raise the temperature of the metal, which allows the patina to embed into the bronze. This isn't paint. The final touch of patina is being applied with an airbrush. While some artists like to coat their sculptures with color, Gowin Memorials prefers to let the beauty of the bronze show through, using minimal patinas as an accent. Moving from metalwork to woodworking, our wooden vessels are made from solid walnut. Here Matt is choosing a suitable piece of stock. He sections the wood to size for our bases. We have a profile template to allow us to accurately reproduce the shape. This is important for consistency, and it also ensures that we have the correct volume inside of our containers. A couple large holes are drilled to allow a bandsaw blade to cut out the interior. After the inside is removed, the outside of the wooden vessel is shaped with a bandsaw. The base and top plate are cut out of matching walnut the same way. And that all leads to this very satisfying moment. After the bottom plate is bonded to the main chamber, the whole lower assembly is shaped on this impressive belt sander. He hand finishes each piece. Our sculptures mount to this top plate. If the ashes are scattered, this piece he's working on can be the base for the sculpture rather than the larger wooden vessel. Pins are added to position the lid onto the lower vessel and the wood is then stained. The insides are coated with flocking to give these wooden vessels a nicely finished compartment for a loved one's ashes or treasured mementos. Our uncompromising dedication to craftsmanship isn't just to create a nice container for a funeral ceremony, we're helping you create a tribute to one of the most important people in your life. Hopefully, this video has given you a sense of the time and care that goes into each one of our pieces. If you have questions or want to talk about customization or pre-planning options, please feel free to reach out to us. Thanks, and we want to help you celebrate life's passions.